chat. Claude is 5% of Claude. The other 95% runs while you sleep, and almost nobody shows it. If you're paying $20 a month and only using the chat window, you're leaving the entire operator layer on the table. In the next 14 minutes, I'll show you the exact headless setup I run on my home server right now. Subagents, MCP, hooks, scheduled loops, 4 Claude workers in parallel. Most tutorials demo prompts. I'll show you working systems triaging 80 emails a day untouched. I build these for clients weekly. Let's start with a part nobody warns you about. Here's the scenario you probably recognize. You open Claude, you paste a long prompt, you get a great answer. You copy it into Gmail. You copy something else into your CRM. You switch to your invoicing tool. You do it again tomorrow. The AI is smart. The workflow around it is still you, manually. That's not automation. That's a smarter clipboard. And it's the reason most solopreneurs tell me they tried Claude, loved the output, and still saved 0 hours a week. The bottleneck was never the model. It was the fact that the model only worked when you were typing. The shift that changed everything for me, and for the clients I build for, is treating Claude as a headless worker, not a chat partner. Headless means no window open, no human in the loop, running on a server, triggered by a schedule or an event, doing real work against real systems. On my home server right now, there are 4 Claude agents running in parallel tmux sessions. One triages roughly 80 Gmail threads a day and pushes the important ones to Telegram with a summary. One handles invoice generation end-to-end in under 8 seconds. One watches logs. One runs a lead qualification loop every 2 hours. I touch none of them on a normal day. That's the setup I'm going to walk you through. Let's start with headless mode itself, because this is the piece almost no tutorial covers. Claude Code, the CLI version, has a print flag. You run Claude with --print and a prompt, and it executes the task and exits. No interactive session, no window, just input, work, output. That one flag is the door. Once you have that, you can wrap it in anything. A cron job, a systemd timer, a webhook handler, a queue worker. The model becomes a function you can call from any script on any schedule. For the Gmail triage system, the pattern is simple. A systemd timer fires every 15 minutes. It runs a shell script. The script calls Claude in print mode with a prompt that says, "Here are the new threads. Classify them, summarize the urgent ones, return JSON. The JSON gets passed and pushed to Telegram. The whole loop takes about 40 seconds and runs untouched all day. Now the second layer, which is where most people's eyes light up, subagents. A subagent is a specialized Claude worker with its own system prompt, its own tool access, and its own job. Instead of one giant general-purpose agent trying to do everything, you spin up small focus ones. For the invoicing system I build for Serbian small businesses, there are 3 subagents. One reads the incoming order, normalizes the customer data, and checks the tax ID. One generates the invoice in the legally compliant XML format the tax authority requires. One handles email delivery and archives a PDF copy. Each one has a tight prompt and limited tools, which means each one is fast, cheap, and predictable. You orchestrate them with a parent script that knows the order of operations. On my server, they run in parallel tmux panes, so I can watch them work. But in production, they're just background processes. The third layer is MCP, the Model Context Protocol. This is what turns Claude from a thing that talks into a thing that acts. MCP servers expose tools to Claude in a standardized way. There are MCP servers for Gmail, for Postgres, for Slack, for file system, for Shell. for 100 other things. You point Claude at the servers you want it to have, and it can call them like functions. For my Gmail triage agent, the MCP config gives it read access to Gmail and write access to Telegram. That's it. It can't delete emails. It can't send on my behalf. The scope is locked at the protocol level. For the invoicing agent, the MCP config gives it access to the local Facturco API and the Postgres database where customer records live. You don't have to write integration code for every system. You install the MCP server, add it to the config file, and Claude can use it. This is the single biggest unlock for solopreneurs because it removes the integration tax. The tools your business runs on now talk to the model directly. The fourth layer, and the one that makes unattended runs actually safe, is hooks. Claude Code lets you define pre-tool and post-tool hooks. These are scripts that run before or after the agent uses a tool. You use them for guardrails. Before any file write, run a linter. Before any database query, check it against a deny list of destructive operations. After any code change, run the test suite. And if it fails, roll back. For headless runs, this is non-negotiable. When you're not watching, the hooks are watching. On my setup, the invoicing agent has a post-write hook that validates every generated XML against the official schema before the file is allowed to leave the directory. If validation fails, the agent gets the error back and retries. That's how you get to near zero error rates on data entry without a human reviewing every output. The fifth piece is the scheduled agent loop, and this is where it all comes together. The lead qualification system I built for an agency client runs every 2 hours. A systemd timer kicks off a Claude agent. The agent uses an MCP server to pull new leads from a Google Sheet. It uses another MCP server to enrich each lead with public company data. It uses a third to write the qualified leads into the CRM with a score and a suggested next action. Pre-tool hooks make sure it never overwrites existing records. Post-tool hooks log every action to a file the founder can audit in the morning. The whole thing is about 120 lines of config and 3 subagent prompts. It replaces what used to be 2 hours of a virtual assistant's day. It runs while everyone sleeps. If you want to start building this yourself, the order matters. First, get one headless run working. One cron job, one print mode Claude call. One task. Don't try to architect the whole thing. Just prove to yourself that the model can do work without you in the chat. Second, add one MCP server. Pick the system that wastes the most of your time, probably Gmail or your CRM, and connect it. Third, split the prompt into subagents only when you feel the single agent version getting confused. Fourth, add hooks before you go fully unattended. Never skip this step. Fifth, schedule it and walk away for a day, then read the logs. Here's what the result looks like in practice. The Gmail triage system saves about 14 hours a week of inbox time. The invoicing system turns a 40-minute manual process into 8 seconds and a click. The lead qualification loop processes leads while the founder is asleep, so the morning starts with a prioritized list instead of a cold sheet. None of this is theoretical. It's running on a beige PC in my office right now. And the architecture is the same whether you're a solopreneur with 1 workflow or an agency with 20. If you want this built for you instead of building it yourself, that's exactly what we do. See real examples of the headless Claude systems we ship for clients at BizflowAI.io. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next build, a full client onboarding agent that runs end-to-end, finds you when it drops. And if you've got a workflow you want running while you sleep, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io and we'll map it out together.